On the ELMS website, Dr. Bote defines teaching as an ongoing, goal-oriented, collaborative process based on sound principles and methods that maximize academic learning and social and emotional development for all children. Our learning experiences throughout the semester have all led to being a teacher that has those capabilities. During this semester, especially during EDCI 397, all of my classes have come together and I feel like I truly know what I need to be a good teacher. I have grown a lot and realized how to put what I've read into practice. For Module 1, we were supposed to find a picture of what student-centered learning looks like, and I chose this one. Here, the student is leading discussion, so we know it's very student-centered and very interactive and engaging. Later in the semester, for Module 5, we were asked to make a wish list of elements or characteristics we'd want in our classroom. I wished for an electronic keyboard, art supplies, and a physically warm and welcoming classroom. This just proves how throughout the semester I realized it's much more than how we plan our lessons. It's also how we set up our classroom and what elements we provide our students with. I would like to provide my students with a sense of community in the classroom, and one way I can do that is through community building exercises like Me Stew, where each student presents 5 things about themselves and shares it with the class. Another activity is 2 on a crayon, where students have to work together to create a piece of art. Activities like this would make students feel they have friends in the class and they feel safe to participate in this learning environment, and that's what I want my students to feel. When I first started learning about the 21st century themes, such as civic literacy and environmental literacy, and also the learning innovation skills like creativity and innovation, I thought these seemed easy enough to put together with Maryland State standards. And during some of the modules, I found some good ideas, like using the social studies themes of global awareness with teaching the genocide in Sudan, or analyzing street signs with the math objective civic literacy. But once it came to using those skills for the 21st Century Learning Project, I realized it's not that easy lining up with the Maryland State curriculum. I had a lot of ideas, putting social studies, reading, and math indicators together. But in the end, they really didn't flow that well, and I realized I shouldn't try to incorporate too many topics, otherwise it'll just start getting confusing and not effective. One thing to remember when using these 21st century themes is that you need to make the context authentic so the students understand it's relatable to their everyday life. If we want our students to develop deep understanding of the content areas we are teaching, we can't teach like this Charlie Brown cartoons teacher, and we need to develop different strategies instead of just simply lecturing our students. One strategy that I particularly like is asking open-ended questions. Not simple yes or no answers. You really need to ask questions that make the students have to think critically to come up with the answer. And a lot of times, there's more than one answer. It's really great for the learning experience. We need to keep in mind that with everything we teach, there'll be information that's nice to know, there'll be foundational knowledge, and then there'll be the big ideas. The big ideas are the concepts that we really want our students to understand, because those are enduring and transferable ideas that will help them with other lessons and other grades. One way I like to structure my lesson plans are in sections or events. The first one would be launch. At this point, you're supposed to activate students' background knowledge and get them excited about the topic they're going to be learning about. You need to get them thinking and engaged in the learning experience right from the start. During the explore section, that will be when the students are really getting into an activity. They could be working in pairs or alone, but this is where they're really exploring and finding out information on their own. This is when they're doing their learning. The present part of the learning experience is exactly what it sounds like. It gives an opportunity for students to present what they learned during their exploration. Here, as the teacher, I will be able to verify that they found out the information I wanted them to find out and that it connects to the big idea and the main topic for the lesson. During the apply, students already know what they are supposed to learn, they understand the topic, and during this part, they will produce a product. Either that will be a written element, a drawing, something that proves that they've understood the topic and they're applying that knowledge. The last part of the learning experience is closure. And that's just when we have to reflect on what we learned, try to get the students to reflect and review and relate it to other topics possibly. One clue I got from talking to other teachers is to make sure that this never gets cut out because it's very important. I feel like I really began to understand this objective when working on the designing a 21st century learning experience. I was assigned a group with Dora, Jenny, Brooke, and Susie, and we actually made a Facebook site where we can work on the group project and we can all update the document and see what everyone else has done. This really showed us what it's like to work on a unit in a professional community. And then at the end, we had a product that I was really proud of, and I think my group members were proud of too. We had to meet a lot, and it was hard to get one cohesive unit together, but I think we made a great lesson in the end. One thing I did not take account into this activity, but I will in the future, is that when we were making these collaborative plans, we also have to keep in mind that we were educating the whole child. And every child is different. They have different interests and different things that can be used to engage them. Another thing we need to realize is that all students interact differently. And they all have different ways of acting when they're cooperative and different ways of acting when they're reluctant, when they get upset. And the key is to try to keep kids from getting upset. So you really need to get to know them and know how to keep them in that cooperative mode. But also remember that you can't judge your students either. Just because you think they're a certain way doesn't mean that they are. So by doing all these things, I think children will really feel safe in the classroom and really learn to their fullest ability. These type of actions might be called proactive actions because by doing these, you're thinking of these ahead of time, and then you don't have to be corrective and punish students when they act out. Overall, I feel like I've learned so much about participating in a professional learning community and how to create a learning community within my own classroom. I cannot wait to sit and teach next year. It'll be great to put all I have learned into practice.